Hello everyone and welcome to another Wardy's Waffle Farm update. For those of you who wanted to have a bit of a tour around the farm and a look at the layout at the farm, then this is for you. But when I recorded it, it was a bit longer than what I anticipated, so I'm actually splitting it into 3 half-hour sections. So here we go with part 1. Please come back with any questions. As always, click like and subscribe and the little bell sound to alert you when I post any future videos. So here we go with part 1. I've started at the top end of the farm, at one end on the light land on the Lincolnshire Heath. Then this is where I live, and it's on sandy and stony soil. So we'll have a look at that and I'll show you around the whole farm. My phone's clipped onto the holder on the windscreen. There might be a touch of camera shake, which I apologise for, but there won't be any wind noise. In front we have a field of sugar beet on the light land. I'm just turning around. You can see the tyres there. Ollie obviously gave me the idea of that a few 2 or 3 years ago, Ollie Harrison. So I've got quite a lot of these concrete tyres dotted around. So we'll drive down this road and I'll just talk a bit about the farm. So where we are at the minute, this is rented, and I got the tenancy of this quite a few years ago when I was 27. My father took the tenancy of this farm in 1956, I think it was, and we've got 400 acres that we rent from Leadham Estate. There's 180 acres up here of light sandy soil, and I'll just turn down this lane here and you'll see there in front of the bonnet there we've got a pile of brome and oats that we've just pulled in that field of wheat there. If you can just see, the light's a bit wrong, but we've just done that field of wheat, and that field of wheat is where we've had the brome, the big patches of brome that we've sprayed off, if you remember. So driving down this lane here, I'll just drive down this track here, and this is one of our tracks. It's not quite as good as I'd like. We just need to do a bit of repair work. Got the field of sugar beet on our right that you can see, and in front we've got one of our wildlife areas that I actually did spray it off with a graminicide to try and control the grass weeds. And if you notice with that has actually done, yeah, looking at that, that's nice and brown. That's done a good job. And the flowers, you can see now, the sensor, you can see the flowers are actually starting to grow through that now, which is good. That's what I wanted it to do. So the grasses are dying off. I'm going to put some more wildflowers in there, thanks to Jim Egan of Kings, who gave us that advice. So that's done a real good job there, which I'm pleased with. And we've got some bales on my right. I'll turn around now. Got some bales that we're going to put around this concrete area for storing the sugar beet. So there's the sugar beet there. So we'll just carry on now and go down this track. Yeah, so this farm, light sandy soil. The rotation we have here is a 4-year rotation, and it's sugar beet followed by, at the minute we're on spring oats actually following it with, and then we are winter wheat. I'm actually going to bring rape back into it up here and have rape after that winter wheat, and then back into probably wheat after that. But we've changed since we stopped growing rape, which was 3 years ago because of flea beetle. We've had a 3-year break just to try and extend the rotation. Then down here we've got another field here. This was sugar beet last year. You remember seeing some of the clips of the solo and the sugar beet working. These are it's a good long field, this. Naked oats, this 50-acre field, naked oats, which goes for the pet food market. I apologise for the bleeper. Goes to the pet food market, and so that's the another field we have up here. So yeah, this farm, going back to it, Leadham Estate, we rent it from. It's on an Agricultural Holdings Act tenancy, so that is an old style tenancy that you can't get them anymore, and it's a 3-generation tenancy, and I'm obviously the 2nd generation of this tenancy. So that's good, really, that I've got this, and obviously we're not paying FBT money, which obviously those rents are really, really high. So we're quite fortunate, and I say you can't get those rents anymore now. So we're just going down this road. As you can see, it's quite a minor road. Not a lot of traffic on it, but there is a quarry behind me. We'll just turn in the yard here. This is where I live. So just turning into the yard here where I live with Rhonda. This is the house, and this is rented, so we don't own this part of the AHA, the tenancy. and I've got local coach travel company parked there, coaches in the yard here. You can just see there the sleepers that we use when we stack the beat in here. You've seen when we've done that, they've just toppled over. We need to replace this line up here and put some RSJs in, concrete them in, and then put some concrete panels in like we've done elsewhere. We've got a field of oats here. If you remember, we had some cover crops and direct drilled the oats into it. And this is this is the field we did, by the way. And if you remember, we also brought the sugar beet up one part of the field and made a real mess of the headland, and this was that field. This was the gap we came through in the concrete just here where I'm pointing now, and you can just see a bit of a shadow just on the edge of the crop, and just a bit of an indentation, a bit of a dip, and this is where we brought all the trailers up with the sugar beet from the field the other side of the road that was oats that you've just seen a second ago. But soil's really forgiving, so it's I'm pleased with those oats as well. They look really good. So just looking here at the buildings, we'll just go in the grain stores here, and then you'll see what the sheds are. I'll just open this shed. All these buildings are really old. They're quite low. You'll see here they're low for the roofs, so we've a job to tip the trailers up in here. Still got a little bit of wheat left here, maybe lorry load a bit more, but we've got bins and elevators there. So that pop hole there, and there's another one there. The grain comes out here and we push up with a Manitou, because these buildings here and the roofs are too low to tip. I've got the beware sign there because there's a bit of a brick sort of ramp at the far end, and we have fetched it out with the bucket when we forgot it was under the grain, so that's why I've got that there. So we'll just nip next door and just see what these are like quickly. This is where actually just go in here. This is a pit. So this is where we tip the grain in here when we're filling the bins and the shed, but the pit's quite small. It only holds about 18 tons, so one of our Bailey trailers just sort of fills it. This is an old continuous flow dryer that we've got. My father put this in. It's only 14 tons an hour, taking out 5%, but I am going to actually sell this. So if anybody knows if anybody wants one like this and wants to dismantle it themselves and take it away, obviously we'll agree a price, but I am going to sell that. And we're up the steps here to the bins. Got 12 bins here. They hold 45 tons each. Cross conveyor there. So the grain comes up from the pit that we've just seen, up that elevator, and then you can send it which way you like. Outside, you can just see a spout there that goes outside to fill the lorries, or along here, and then this cross auger runs and we fill the bins. So there's 12 bins here that they hold about 45 tons each, but the problem with them is that the hole is in the corner. There's no sweep auger in the bottom, so it will pile up that side, and then when it stops running there, it's piled up that corner, and there's about 5 ton in there to shovel by hand. So that's the worst thing about these. So we'll nip downstairs and just look at the other sheds next door. So just walking past the dryer now into the next door building. This is where we had the oats. You'll notice we've got all our buildings to clear out, which we're going to start doing now, ready for harvest. We won't be harvesting before the end of July, early August. So we've got a bit to clear out. But yeah, this is a good shed actually for tipping. You can see how high it is. Old type of at-cost concrete pillars. There the bins have just been up, but this good shed, this one for tipping. You can tip a Bailey trailer in this shed quite easily, and compressor electrics. And this is a sofa where they've got 3 farm cats up here where they sleep. So I think a lot of the pets, the dogs, Nala and Frankie, and the cats, Archie, Missy and Buster, so they have to live in comfort like I do. So we'll nip outside now, just look at the other buildings. Getting the padlock off there, so go in this shed. And this shed, again, is one of the older lean-tos. It used to be a crew yard here. That wall wasn't in. There used to be cattle out that side into a crew yard out there. But useful shed for storing. We've got ventilation in all the floors as we have in the other ones actually. I'll just explain this. So out the back, got some little fans and cubby holes. We'll have a look there. And the air, when the sheds are full, I'll say this one we don't store anything in here, but the other two we do. When the sheds are full, the air comes through the floor and then up through the crop. but this one we just store machinery in here because that elevator or conveyor rather comes from the other shed next door there. The belt snapped. It snapped a few years ago. We haven't replaced it, but we don't need this shed for storing grain, and it's really good for storing machinery in the winter time. But just walking around the back of the grain stores just to show you the fans. You can see there the little dog kennels, as I call them, and there's a little low volume fan in there, and that just sucks the air in there, puts it under the floor. There's 2 per shed, so this shed here is the one we're not using for storage. This is the one, this shed here, where we've had the oats in, and so that will just cool and condition the grain in there, but it won't dry it. Whereas the bigger fans in the fan house here, these are what do the bins, and these big fans here, I don't know what they are, 25 horsepower each, I think. They actually will dry, takes the moisture out in the bins. But again, older fans, older system, but of course it has its limitations. So we'll go out and go down the other farm. But yeah, this system is, so it's really old, but asbestos roof building, converted crew yards and things, and this was a crew yard out here. So from there, out here and down, this was an open crew yard, and then we've obviously bricked that wall in to make it into a grain store. One more thing to show you here, there's the spout. So for emptying the bins, you've seen the elevators and things inside, then we just put a lorry underneath here and empty it out in the spout. But again, the conveyors are only probably 40 tons an hour, so they're not that big a capacity compared to filling out of a bucket. We can fill a lorry in about 15 minutes with the Manitou bucket. Anyway, we'll nip down to the other farm now and show you that. So we'll drive out here and carry on down the road through the village, and I'll talk a bit about the farm and the cropping and things. So yeah, this is the Lightland farm that my father started the tenancy on. He moved from the Lincoln area to here in the mid to late 50s and took on the tenancy of this farm straight away. And Leadnam Estate has around about 3,300 acres, I think. There are 5 tenants on the estate. We rent 400 acres from them, and I think we are about the smallest actually tenant on the estate. So up here it's all light land, very free draining soil, grows malting barley really well, it grows sugar beet well. Not so good on some winter crops because of the lack of moisture and it drying out. So that can be a slight problem, especially in a year like this year when our winter wheat crops have suffered a bit due to the dry May and late April. They've dropped the tillers off. So we're very lucky here as well. I have got a phone mast, as you can see just there. I will turn around again, another quiet road. You can see I've got a phone mast there, which is fantastic because there's O2, there's EE, there's all of them on there. And so we get really good phone signal around here, so it's great there. So coming through, this is heading down into Leadnam village now. This used to be the A17 years ago, and you've heard me mention about how bad the A17 is for traffic and everything, and you can imagine the volume of traffic that used to be on here. This is one of my cousin's farms on the right, just through there. That again is part of Leadnam Estate. The A17 used to run right through the middle of Leadnam village, and it's the main road that takes all the traffic from the Midlands through to the coast. So it's a very busy road, and some of you might have heard me mention it, but I'll say it again. The police, I get on very well with all the local police, the rural crime boys, and also the traffic cops, as they're known around here. I get on really well with Lincolnshire police, generally help them a lot. And the road, the A17, is known as the busiest single carriageway A road in the country. Anyway, we'll talk about that when we get on it. This used to be the A17, heading down now into Leadnam village. You can see from that sign, if I stop quickly, whoops, where we are. That's where we are. So we've got the main crossroads in the village, goes Newark one way, Grantham the other, and Lincoln the other, and then Sleaford behind me. So this is the main traffic lights through the middle of the village. We'll just run around the village, You see a nice village. We'll just turn right here and just go through here. Got some houses being built on the left. This is the George Hotel, or the old pub car park. Got some new houses being built there. Primary school on the right hand side. Bowls Club now just on our right. I will turn in. There's not a lot of traffic about, so I can turn in. This is into the tennis club. Got an all-weather hockey tennis surface. Just let me see if I can drive around on the grass. This is the Leadenham, the village playing field, and there we go. Obviously, that's the function going to be here, but yeah, there's 2 tennis courts there as well, and they have played some small hockey on there as well. So 2 all-weather tennis courts that was part of some lottery-funded grant, as was that village hall. Really good village hall we've got here, which is great. Kiddies play area to our right. So we'll just head back out now through the village. And lots of nice houses in Leadenham Village. Oh, he's let me out. So lots of nice houses, thank you. Lots of nice houses in the village here. Farm shop on the left. One of my farming neighbours has got a farm shop there, little really good farm shop. Just heading back up through the village, you can see it's lots of stone houses, stone walls. Really nice sort of sleep-eat village. Garage here on the left that I come to quite often for Costas. You'll see they do Costa coffee. There's fuel at the minute, 190.9 for unleaded. Wow. We will just turn round. It's got Spa shop here. It's got a country shop store which is for pet food. So that's good. I will just let everybody pass. That's it. Then we'll go back out now onto the road. Just turn now through the village. So just heading now, this is all a weight limit through here, 7.5 ton weight limit, and we did have quite a few years struggle getting people to stick to it, but we've finally succeeded because of we did have a lot of trouble with all the lorries that used to come through here, but there is an alternative route down the bypass, down Leadenham bypass, which was built in the late 1990s, I think. Revolutionised and made Leadenham so much better. Tom lives on the right there, who works for us on the farm. He lives just in the cottage on the right, and that's part of Leadenham Estate as well. That's part of the tenancy. And the house there, just see a big stone house. I'll just go steady. That big stone house just through there on the left, that's where my father lived, but both my parents died. My father died a year last November, and my mother died in 2015. I did have a brother, unfortunately it was really sad, he died of cancer when he was 32. I've got a sister who's married to a farmer just the other side of Newark. I've got 2 daughters. One of them, Sam, is a seed manager for Agri, and the other one, Philippa, is in horses, does lots of freelance horse work. So we're driving down now. This was the old A17, and we're just going to turn in now. This is heading towards Newark, if you like, and it's joining the A17 through the village. This is, again, tenanted land, part of Leadenham Estate. It's part of the 400 acres that I rent. We're turning in now. You can see we've got good farm roads everywhere, and stewardship plot on my left. Crop of oats there. We direct drilled that with the free flow straight into stubble. Just turn around here on this beat pad. This actually does want a bit of work doing to it, this concrete. It wants extending, so that's another job we need to do. And just turning around, you see those oats looking really well. Just focus the camera in. So pleased with those oats, how they look really. And got field of sugar beet. One field of sugar beet in front of us there. Just adjust the camera so you can see it a bit better. Just zoom in a bit there. So we've got field of sugar beet there looking well. That's only 20 acres roughly. Another field of sugar beet there. You can just see in the distance on the corner of that hedge, you can just see those light coloured plants. Oh, it's shaking now with the engine. That's weed beet there. That will need pulling. But yeah, some good looking oats, sugar beet crops. But we do need to extend this this concrete. So we'll go back out now to the main farm. So we'll come back out now onto this minor road. All clear. And we're now coming up to the A17 in a minute in front of us, but just on our right first of all is the field that we had our direct drilling day and our plots and the demo with all the drills. If you look just, and we'll turn in just there, that's the field. You can just see, I've got a few wild oats just looking at a patch of wild oats you can just see there. But if you just look in the distance, you can see the white boards on the far side. Just turn around a bit there. Don't know whether you can see the white boards in the distance. And yeah, there we are. So that's where all the plots are across the field, and this is where we are. So we'll just head back out now to them, back down to the farm, the main farm, where the whole farm is run from. Is it all clear? Yep, it's all clear. So you can see now we've got the A17 coming up here. So this used to be the old A17. It used to go straight on where we are now, just the other side of those chevrons, and that track there just to the right, that was the old A17. Obviously it's been narrowed off and trees planted on it when it was excuse me, when the bypass was built. So here we are now onto the A17. Lovely quietness at this time of night, which gives a falseness to the road because it is just horrendous during the day. It's 7:38 p.m. at night now, and obviously all the lorry drivers are parked up, ready, and lay-bys and lorry parks ready to get an early start in the morning. So driving down the A17 here, single track road. This is the road to Newark. So we're now onto the Heathlands. We come down the village through the village onto the lowland, as it's called, and sort of the Trent Valley. Even though this is Lincolnshire, and I know the Trent is a Nottinghamshire river. This again, we're still on Leadnam estate land here on the right. Oh, sorry, on the left and the right, except on the left in a second, and I'll tell you now. Just after that tree, this now on the left is our own land. My father bought this farm from Leadnam estate in about 1960, somewhere there I think it was, and whereas all behind us and on the right, that was all part of Leadnam estate. So we've got a track there on the left, that's ours there, that goes on to out the back of the farm. So we'll turn in the main farm now. Just see a few lorries. You can see now in front of us, lorries coming up. So this is the main farm entrance. You've seen it before. We had this driveway just done this last week. So I will find my zapper, and there we go, and open the gate. So there's buildings in front of us. That shed was put up in 1976. It was obviously in its day it was a good building, but now it's so low at the sides. I think it's only 16 feet to the eaves, to the gutters at the side, and you'll see it's quite low. So we'll just drive around here to, this is where the house is. You've seen us demolish this. That building there, by the way, I don't think I've told you, that was the old farm office, and I left it up there for the builders when we build the house in the winter time. If they want somewhere to go to get out the weather, have the brakes and charge up the power tools and things, that's why I've left that. But that is coming down after we've finished the house. So this is where the new house is going. Is that in the same place as the old one? And the garages will eventually come down. There's the offices through there that you've seen us renovate. So we'll just head back now, back round to the yard. So just round the corner, we'll just go in these buildings and you'll just see where we are. So there's our fertiliser tanks, full of 30% liquid nitrogen, bought at last year's price, so about £300 a tonne, I think £305 a tonne, so that's good. So we'll just nip in these sheds. So I've just opened this shed, and you'll see this is a bit dark in here. See if I can just get a bit of light in for you so you can see it. It's an old floor in here. It's one of the first floor dryers around. It was a shallow floor, as they call it, CHALLLOW, from Derbyshire, Staffordshire somewhere. We can see how low it is to the eaves, and there's our Bailey people carrier and one of our grain trailers. But we keep all our machinery under cover as much as we can, and that's nearly all the time. This is a shed. Just let me open this one up. This one hasn't got a drying floor in it. We've got decent heights around the outside. Again, store machinery when it's not full of grain. We had the beans in here, and the air tunnel on the right. Just got empty chemical cans here at the minute. That will go to a recycling place, so that's all from the last year. But yeah, put some good cladding up around the outside, and you can see the concrete angle around there. And what we did to make it better for cleaning out, we've actually screwed, we only did this not many 3 or 4 years ago, we've got some angle iron here, and we've bolted that into the floor down here, and then run the concrete down here, and then when you're emptying out, if your bucket goes up to there, it's fine. It doesn't hurt it, so it's good. So it works really well. There's the Bowser and the hedge cutter free flow drill, a fantastic free flow drill. Just got some haylage bales here that's waited to be delivered, so they're all loaded up. I think actually they're ones that got holes in, so they're going to a friend of mine who's got a lot of cattle near Lincoln, and obviously they're no good for haylage, but they'll be good in his diet feeder to mix up with maize and beet pulp and things like that. So that's one of the buildings here. So I'll just walk across now to this other building and the chemical store and store 3, this new shed. I say new, it's been up actually 10 years now, but really high, and I'll explain that in a minute. So that's it for part 1 of the farm tour. Hope you've enjoyed it and seen the layout of the farm. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, cheerio.